This is Mel Allen.
This Week in Baseball presents Swing Time in Oakland as Carney Lansford helps keep the A's on top of the American League West with a near .400 batting average. A word with Willie.
Kids need a role model, and I don't know if I'm a role model or not. I feel that as much as I can do for kids, I do.
And in Houston, all signals are go for the Astros, who make fast tracks on top of the National League West. So step on it, one and all. It's time now for This Week in Baseball. Thanks in part to a spirited offense that starts with Gerald Young's league-leading 26 steals. Next comes number 2 hitter Billy Hatcher and his red-hot bat.
Hatcher to left field, base hit. Here comes Poole around to score, and the Astros take a 3-2 lead.
5 for 5 for Billy Hatcher.
Houston's heaviest hitter, Glenn Davis, has got a knack for getting the big hit.
There's a drive to left. Going, and gone. Holy Toledo, the big bopper strikes, and a 2-run lead is back.
Even with Davis, the Astros are not a power-hungry team. They rely on speed and a steady supply of hits at the top of the order.
I've always been able to put the bat on the ball. I started switch hitting full-time in 1984, so I'm still learning to hit from my left side. I hit .321 last year, and I really don't feel like everybody expects me to do that again, but my job is just to be a table setter, get on base, and get myself in scoring position, whether it's a stolen base or a double, any way you have it.
Drive the ball a lot. I'm not going to hit a lot of home runs, but I will hit the ball in the gaps, in the alleys, hit some doubles and some triples. I'm satisfied, hitting a single, getting a base hit, bunting, whatever it is, and stealing second and hopefully third. So my biggest thing is, for me, is to get on base. If I get on base, I can score some runs.
Glenn Davis usually sees to that. He leads the league with 37 RBIs and happily bats cleanup, a job made a lot easier by the trio of hitters that bats ahead of him.
It's funny because every time I go out of the dugout onto the field, I'm usually the one that goes out first because they call the first baseman. Then here comes Gerald, here comes Hatch, here comes Billy Doran right behind me, and I always look out there. I said, there go my horses. There go those deer running out there, and they're always out there on base. They're going to make things happen, and there's a lot of RBIs. I'm going to collect a lot of RBIs by just their speed. It's fun. It's fun to watch those guys out there and just let them go to the races.
Going places in the American League East, the Cleveland Indians, who in a stretch of winning 12 out of 15 have kept near the top of the heap. In pumping up the offense, Joe Carter has figured heavily in Cleveland's resurgence. He ranks among league leaders with a .333 average and 36 RBIs. Mighty sweet numbers, which make for a pretty potent combination.
I think Joe Carter's one of the best 5 athletes in either league. I think he's an outstanding talent. He's had 2 good years back-to-back, and I think that Joe Carter's even better than what he's shown. He's just now starting to grow or mature into the role of being a Major League superstar. I think he's just going to get better and better.
I have desires to go out there and, beat Ig Davis in the 40-40 club. He almost got it last year, so hopefully I can go out there and set my desires to accomplish that. But mainly I'm a team player, and I like to go out there and think of the team first. But one guy cannot make a team a winner. You need the 24 ball players pulling together and go out there and everybody doing their part. That's what it's going to take, and hopefully we can start doing that right now.
The Indians had been bumbling their way through the East Division, but with lively young arms in the rotation, times may definitely be changing. Greg Swindell deserves much credit for Cleveland's rousing start. At 23, he's rapidly becoming one of the league's best left-handers, helping to bring the Indians fresh respect.
He could be a cornerstone of a pitching staff. He could be a Dwight Gooden or Roger Clemens to his staff. That guy, when he goes out there, you stand much better than a 50-50 chance of winning the ball game that day. The sky's the limit for Greg.
Greg Swindell is easily a 20-game winner potential. As long as any pitcher stays healthy, particularly a Greg Swindell, you know, he's got an opportunity to win 20 games for several years.
Maybe, but for right now, numbers Swindell with a Major League leading 9 wins and counting. Credit Carney Lansford with helping spark the A's' quick rise to power in the West. Besides having the most hits of any player, Lansford leads the majors with a near 400 average. All that from the leadoff hitter and 11-year veteran who prefers to hit them here, there, and everywhere.
In order to be able to hit 300 or for a high average, you have to use all fields. And, you know, so far this season, I've been lucky as well as good.
The hottest hitter in baseball. And there's another base hit. 3 for 5 on Sunday, 4 for 5 last night, and so far 3 for 4 today.
I've hit the ball well. The main thing I try to do is stay aggressive when I go to the plate. And as long as I stay aggressive, things always seem to work out for me. I just try and put the ball in play and give myself a chance. And anytime you do that, you at least give yourself a chance to get a base hit.
Though Lansford has always been consistent, he says he became a much hardier hitter when he played with Boston. There, he won a batting title and began a string of 4 seasons in which he hit 300 or more.
Probably the thing that turned my career around more than anything else was being traded to Boston and getting the opportunity to work with Walt Reniak. He'd keep my head down on the ball, cut down on my strikeouts. And the first year I worked with him extensively in spring training in '81 and went out and worked with him throughout the course of the season and ended up winning the batting title. You know, I learned to become a much more disciplined hitter playing in Fenway Park, because in the past, when I would go in there, I would try, just like everybody else, go in there with the tempting big green monster out there and try and see how many balls I could hit in the net. And I think in order to be a good hitter in Fenway Park, you have to be disciplined enough to try and hit the ball the other way and stay away from trying to do that, because it just creates so many bad habits.
Breaking ball, hammered toward the hole. A great diving stop by Lansford.
Also sample Lansford's defense. 2 of the last 3 seasons, he led all third basemen in the league in fielding percentage.
To help out the pitcher, to me, is the biggest plus you can do out on the field. Save him even a few extra pitches by making a good play or turning a double play for him to save a few pitches for him. I would rather take an 0 for 4 in a game offensively and make a couple good defensive plays to save a ball game and help a pitcher out than to go 3 for 4 or 4 for 4 and lose a ball game.
Carney's contributions have no doubt been great, but his greatest source of pride comes not from the individual numbers, but from his peers' respect.
If there's one thing, you know, I'd like the other players that I played with and against to remember me for, is just going out and knowing that I played the game 100% every time I took the field, played hard. And I've heard comments from opposing players about that, and it makes you feel good. It makes it worthwhile.
This Oakland ace is worth his weight in green and gold. Time now for this week's quiz, brought to you by Chevrolet. At age 45, the Yankees' Tommy John is the game's eldest citizen. But can you name the oldest Major League player ever to play?
0-2, Wegener delivers.
Mays hits it into left field. There goes number 3,000. Willie Mays gets his 3,000th base hit.
There's a long drive way back in center field. Way back. It is home. Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch, which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
2-0 delivery, and Mays sends another one. Tell it, bye-bye, baby. Aaron doesn't even move. It's going far up into the center field bleachers. Willie Mays has tied a record, 4 home runs in a game.
Mays, the batter. Here's the pitch to Willie. Swung on, hit deep to left. That one is way back, way back, way back. Till it goodbye, number 600 for Willie Mays. And the Giants come to home plate to greet him. Number 600 for Mays. He hit it over the 370-foot mark.
A performer of outstanding achievements, Willie Mays collected 2 MVP awards, the 3rd most career home runs, 660, and played a scintillating center field. Now the Hall of Famer has turned author with a book called Say Hey. It's a story that begins long before his fame with the Giants.
Back in the Negro League, I was playing with 14. Most of the guys on my ball club was about 25 or over, so the learning experience was very great, and every guy was a babysitter for me. They never let me do anything wrong, you know, which I really appreciated because I think that helped me a lot.
In 1951, after hitting a tremendous .477 with the Giants Farm Club in Minneapolis, Mays was called up to the majors. He was only 20, even so unfazed by the pressures of playing in New York.
Again, back in the Negro League, I was programmed for all big cities. And I had played in the Polo Ground many times. I had played in Brooklyn called the Bushwicks. So I knew New York a little bit. So I had no problem with New York per se. But what they did for me when I came to New York is that they placed me.
In fact, Mays went to live on 155th Street in Manhattan with a family that became his own.
She was like my godmother. Her name was Ann Gooseby. She and her husband, they took me in as like I was their own, and she cooked and ironed my clothes, took care of me. It was very, very nice.
And if Mays felt at home in his new neighborhood, he also came to feel mighty close to manager Leo Durocher, developing a great affection for Leo, one that helped him become a hitter of extraordinary versatility.
At All-Star break, I had 35 home runs, and I figured I'm going to hit 50 right away. But Leo came to me, and he says, you got to change. And I really was confused because here I am hitting a lot of home runs, and all of a sudden, why do I have to change from hitting home runs and driving in runs? So he says, you're the only guy on the club that could carry us to a pennant. So what happened, as it was, he was right. I started hitting the ball right center, left center. I only hit 5 or 6 more home runs the second half of the season. But I drove in 120 runs. We won the pennant. We won the World Series. As I look back, he was very, very much right in what we had to do.
In 1954, Mays led the Giants to a world championship. It was only his 3rd season, but by then Mays was the team leader, a role he gladly accepted.
And my first year was 1951. I was very, very nervous. I didn't know about the game of baseball. I knew how to play, but I didn't know the other aspect of how nervous you can get in a certain situation because I never was in that situation. But as I grew older, pressure never been a problem with me. I want the pressure on me. So that's why I used to hit 3rd. They wanted me to hit 4th, but 3rd seemed to come up more times in crucial situations than 4th did. So I said, okay, I'll hit 3rd. Because I think the pitcher is more afraid of me than I am afraid of the pitcher. So I'm ahead of him all the time.
It's little wonder that Giant teammates came to depend on Mays. He could hit with power, run, throw, and field. All the ingredients, said Durocher, that made Mays a superstar.
My father used to tell me, hey, you got to think for yourself. You got to do everything in baseball. That means run, hit, throw, and slide, and all the things that involve in baseball. You got to do it well. When I became a professional ball player, I used to prepare at night. If I'm playing a game the next day, I would want to know, what am I going to do? What can I do? Should I slide this way? Should I slide that way? I would prepare my mind so when it came up, right away I knew what was going on. I didn't have to think when I played ball. It was an easy job playing baseball, but some ball players you have to tell daily what to do and how to do it. Not for me. Me, baseball was like a breeze.
Mays' thrilling style of play made him one of the game's most popular figures. He loved to play and shared his enthusiasm with all the kids with whom he came in contact.
You guys have been playing basketball for quite a while now, I understand. I understand that all you guys know how important it is to be in good condition playing basketball. Take me, for instance. I've been playing for like 23 years now, and I'm not too out of shape. Is that right, or am I out of shape? Do I look too bad to you? Nope. You better say yes.
I think kids need a role model, and I don't know if I'm a role model or not. I feel that as much as I can do for kids, I do it. I am not a guy that will try to go out and make a kid all over again. You can't do that. You just suggest things, and hopefully that he can do it right. The reason I guess I do it because I know the childhood that I had when I was coming along. Many people helped me, and I try to give some of that, back to some of the kids.
Willie Mays gave his heart and soul and incomparable talents to all of baseball. Time now for the answer to this week's quiz, brought to you by Chevrolet. Legendary Satchel Paige, in a brief return to the majors, became the oldest player in history, 59. How about that? No place was safe one eventful night in Pittsburgh when Houston came to town. Mike Scott was problem number one for the Bucks. He shut out Pittsburgh on 4 hits en route to win number 6 in a row. But as it turned out, Scott wasn't the only force the Pirates had to contend with that night.
All of a sudden, the wind has started to swirl around in the ballpark, and it looks like it might rain. Could be starting to rain, but it's starting to pick up the pace a little bit, and the wind is really blowing. Dust and papers swirling onto the field, all-star ballots. Wow. It's like a mini tornado out there. Well, this is something you don't see in the Dome.
50-mile-an-hour winds plus driving rains washed out the last of the 9th inning, but still the game was official and Houston won. Hey, what's with the get-up? Aren't you in the wrong scene? Oh, I see. The storm story is over, and now we're into this week's bloopers, right? Well, that's quite a subtle introduction, folks, if I must say. Well, switch on the laugh, because this is a case of to have and have not. And these major leaguers definitely have not. Maybe some outsiders can put a stop to these mishaps. Hey, are you guys auditioning for Major League work? Thanks, but no thanks. We'll stick with what we have, or don't have. For the finale, what not to do when you're lucky enough to get a foul ball. And now shades of something materially different, starring the good hands people at Major League ballparks everywhere. And that, my friends, means great plays. First, Robin Yount, Milwaukee. A Dodger trio, Mike Marshall to Mike Socia to Steve Sax. Baltimore rookie, Keith Hughes. The Rangers, Pete Incaviglia. Wow. Mark Grace, Chicago Cubs. Dave Collins, Cincinnati. Carmelo Martinez, Padres. Mike Pagliarulo, Yankees. Rookie teammate, Jay Buhner. Get it, man. Atlanta's Ron Gant to Andres Thomas for 2. Philadelphia's Milt Thompson. New York Mets, Keith Hernandez. Philadelphia's Von Hayes. Houston's Billy Hatcher. And finally, Cincinnati's Paul O'Neill. Hey, nice job, gentlemen. Time now to open the notebook for this week in baseball's TWIB notes from around the majors. For Baltimore fans, there's been little joy in Mudville these days, but recently the Orioles won 3 in a row for the first time this year. The second win came compliments of Mike Boddicker, who had lost 13 straight going back to last year. John Candelaria has been giving batters a nasty taste of his old stuff. With a 6-2 record, the Candyman seems well on his way back from 2 unhappy seasons. Recently, he struck out 13 Oakland A's in a 2-hit shutout. And get this, in 3 straight games, 1 earned run. No wonder the Yankees are fit and chipper in the American League East. Steve Bedrosian, last year's Cy Young Award winner, spent the first 6 weeks of the season on the sidelines. But now the Phillies' ace reliever is back, and against the Padres picked up his first save. Maybe now Bedrock's return will help pick up the last-place Phillies. For Chuck Tanner, 1988 has been the culmination of 3 disappointing seasons with the Braves. Unable to get them going, including a 0-10 start this year, Tanner was let go, turning over the last-place Braves to one-time player Russ Nixon, who most recently managed their Double-A team in South Carolina. Time now for our play of the week, brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. When Mike Greenwell hit this ball out at Fenway Park, it was hard to tell if it was out of reach. Red Sox base runners couldn't tell at first and nearly ran into disaster. Fact is, Chili Davis didn't reach the ball. A fan did. And the result, a most welcome souvenir and a 3-run homer for Greenwell. On This Week in Baseball, a look at this year's amateur draft and an update on 2 of last year's top picks, Ken Griffey Jr. and Willie Banks.
That's all for now, folks. See you next week on This Week in Baseball.
Don't miss the action when the Tigers take on the Minnesota Twins tonight at 7:30. And he's the NBA's all-time leading scorer. Sports Final Edition profiles Kareem Abdul-Jabbar tomorrow night at 11:30. Now stay tuned as Houston meets the Chicago Cubs next here on Channel 4.